Hi, welcome everybody. It's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Gallery in the fitting room here, and I've got quite an interesting test here for you today. Now, obviously, I do a lot of reviews, strong lofted irons, and obviously get a lot of comments on my channel about how the 7 irons are now basically just a 6 iron or even a 5 iron. So, what I thought I'd do here is actually test two clubs together which are exactly the same loft, but the number on the bottom is very, very different. So what I've got here is a Callaway Rogue X 7 iron, and this comes in at 27 degrees of loft, so extremely, I think it's one of the strongest lofted 7 irons on the market. Okay, and I'm going to put it up against my own Wilson V6 forged 5 iron, which is also 27 degrees. So both of these lofts are identical, but one is a 7 iron, one is a 5 iron. Okay, and obviously two very different golf clubs in terms of the heads. Obviously Rogue X, much bigger, more offset, thicker top edge, more forgiving, a little bit more powerful in terms of technology off the club face and ball speed. Obviously the V6, a bit more traditional, obviously not a blade, but it's not far off a sort of blade there, very slim profile there, a little bit of tungsten in the bottom of the club, but that's about it really. So I'm going to put these head to head here. I'm going to hit a batch of shots with the X, batch with the V6. Obviously we've got GC2 HMT set up here, and we're going to really look at launch angle. Okay, and we're going to look at spin, and we're going to look at ball speed, and obviously a bit of distance as well, and maybe a little bit of peak of the height of the flight as well, and just see how two exactly the same lofted golf clubs may perform differently. If they do, they might not do, through the actual ball flight itself. Right guys, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with the V6, which is my own iron here. So this is, I say, 5 iron, 27 degrees of loft. So I'm going to hit a batch of shots for this. I might not show you every single ball flight here, I'll probably just run through these and then we'll look at some numbers a little bit more detail, because I want to have a look at quite a few different aspects of these numbers between these golf clubs here. Okay, so as I say, 5 iron, V6, let's get this first one here. Okay then, so there's a batch of shots hit with my sort of 5 iron. So, you know, it feels great. I mean, I love these V6s. You know, they're very sort of very controllable iron, which is obviously what it's all about. So, I'm going to move over into the Callaway Rogue X iron. I'm going to hit the same number of shots here. I've got it set up pretty much the same spec as what I've got in mind, and then we're going to look into numbers a little bit more detail. Okay, so Callaway Rogue X in my hands here. So as I say, this is a 7 iron here, but it is 27 degrees of loft. So I think, as I say, it's one of the most strong lofted 7 irons on the mark here. So let's get these hit. So again, batch of shots hit with this one. Okay then, so there's a batch of shots hit with the Rogue X, so going to be really interesting to sort of see there. There's definitely some differences of feel, obviously with the forged head, non-forged. The sounds were very, very different, as you'd expect from these two head designs. But let's go look at some numbers and see how two 27 degree irons perform. Right, okay, so let's have a look at some numbers here. So obviously we've got the V6 in the bottom there, the red, and then we've got the Rogue X on the top there. So let's look at V6 first. So we can see ball speed at 126 and ball speed with the Rogue X 124. So that surprised me straight away there. I was expecting maybe with the bulkier head of the X iron there, a little bit faster, you know, cup 360. There's a lot of tech in here. The ball speed wasn't as quick. Now let's look at some strikes. So this is the V6 strike pattern here. So not bad strikes, some a little bit low in the face, which I did feel a little bit clean on the sort of hits. And then if we look at the Rogue X strikes, quite similar positions, to be honest, so very, very equal on the strikes. Again, couple a little bit low in that club face there. Okay, but ball speed there, 124 against 126, so a little bit more out of that V6. Okay, now looking at launch angle. So Rogue launched a touch higher than the V6, but literally a touch, you know, less than half a degree there, so it's minimal there in that. Now again, you know, with these, we know the lofts are the same, but maybe with this sort of more CG coming down in the club face a little bit more in these more modern irons, sometimes we see the launch is a little bit higher there, but it's exactly the same, you know, so the loft there same, launch is coming out the same. Look at spin number there, so 5.6 against 5.7, so again virtually identical. Now as you can see, these numbers do jump up and down as I move my strike around, and as I say, from that sort of low in the face sort of strike more to sort of high in the face strike, that's what's going to change spin more than anything else really. But as a test between the two, they're very, very similar. Now the peak height is very different. So you see 32 peak height against, oh sorry, it's 125 there. Right, I'm going to cut that one out, because that's somehow that's measured as a 0. That's pulled my averages down there a little bit. So if I just take that one out for now, we'll see 31 against 32. So pretty much identical there in terms of that peak height. And then we see carry distance 176 against 180. So a little bit more out of the V6, and that does surprise me. I wasn't expecting that. I'd expect a little bit more out of that Rogue, to be honest. Visually on a flight, the V6 did look a touch higher, and even though it's launched a little bit lower, it did peak a little bit higher, and I sort of saw that the feel was massively different. Obviously, you know, a forged iron, the looks was massively different. So, you know, again, if this is me, the Rogue isn't in my sort of radar in a way in terms of an iron that I will play, just because it's too big, too much offset, too much chunky. The feel, the sound is just very different to what I'm personally used to. Obviously, V6, you know, forged head, that softer feel is much, much better. So all in all there, you know, we look at sort of peak height, pretty much the same, launching pretty much the same, ball speed touch quicker with the V6, spinning identical there. So the loft against loft isn't doing much difference here, but obviously the number stamped on the bottom is pretty different. So just a quick look at the sort of dispersion there. So you see the blue ones are the Rogue and the red ones are the V6 there. So just pushed a little bit more with the Rogue. The lie angle was a little bit more down there. Couldn't quite get the same lie as mine, which that'll make a difference of, and probably just goes to show the importance of a lie angle there. So it was a little bit more sort of toe down, which made that board just push off to the right a little bit more as a pattern. But look at the sort of peak height here. You can see they're all peaking pretty much the same then, and you know, same sort of flight profile, very, very sort of identical there. Right, okay, so there we go. Rogue X against V6, a 7-iron against a 5-iron, both 27 degrees of loft. Quite interesting results there. I was expecting something to be a little bit different there. I was probably expecting a little bit more out of the Rogue X, if I'm going to be honest, just because of what's happening in the head. You know, the Cut 360, they talk a lot about ball speed. Granted, that is much more forgiving golf club. It's a bigger profile head. As I say, these two heads are very, very different, as you'd appreciate. So forgiveness-wise, yes, that will be a lot more forgiving on off-centre hits. So again, it really depends on that type of golfer. Now, golfers I get through fittings vary. You know, standard ability, handicap varies so much. So guys, you know, they want that distance. You know, and if that 7-iron goes a bit further, yeah, it is a 7, but it's not really 7. It's more like an old-style 5-iron. But nowadays, the modern lofts of these 7s is, you know, that's becoming a little bit more of the norm. So, you know, at the end of the day, that number stamped on the bottom is just a number, isn't it? It's what it does, how it sort of performs. And if somebody wants to hit that ball a little bit further than Rogue X, yes, why not? You know, they've got that slightly shorter shaft. They've got that, you know, that bit more forgiveness behind there if they need that forgiveness, and that's a big factor for a lot of golfers. Other golfers maybe want a little bit more sort of control, not striving for that distance. Then, you know, obviously V6, the looks are very different, the forged head, you know, those types of irons are very, very different performing and give a different sort of feedback through feel of strike and sort of sound as well. Okay. Quite an interesting little test there. Let me know your thoughts. You know, comment down below. You know, are you a fan of these lofted, strong lofted irons? Does it really bother you? I know a lot of people get quite wrapped up in this, and they just don't like it at all. They think it's a marketing sort of just a cover up, really, just to hit the ball further. It sort of is in a way, but you know, they don't really hide the fact. You know, all these numbers are all visible on the websites to sort of go and lock out these loft numbers. So they're not hiding it. They're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You know, they're just trying to hit that ball a little bit further to add enjoyment to the game for what a lot of golfers would sort of want. Okay. Right, thanks so much for watching, guys. Do appreciate watching the videos. As always, please do hit that subscribe button with somewhere up there, and obviously hit that bell icon as well, so as soon as a video lands, I post it, you'll get notifications straight away, be one of the first to watch it. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.